Okay, it's been a while. It's been a long time. Well, we have to come back again after a couple of months. I don't even know how long it's been before I've done a YouTube. Um, Glad to be back to try to get things together here. I got some thoughts on. Obviously, I wanted to finish up. Last time I did some YouTube was in the book of Hebrews. After I did a lot of stuff on the Old Testament, New Testament with the different the Israelites and blah 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 and laity and etc. So what I want to do is catch up, and we go again doing sounds with my voice as soon as I start talking. Ain't this something? And catch up on some thoughts and some topics. Really, two. Basically, I got a couple of notes. I'm going to do the book of Hebrews, but I got a couple other side notes just to show you how many times the Yehudim were confused with the Old Testament with the New Testament gospel. They were confused. But I'm going to start out saying this, and I'll remind myself, hopefully remember, to say the same thing when it comes to the book of Hebrews. Now, this was one of my notes I wrote from back in the days. Maybe a week and a half ago. Jeremiah 31:31. Everyone pretty much who studies, knows any kind of connection to this, knows that this particular verse prophesies the new covenant. New covenant. Renewed covenant, sometimes these people put these in these translations to make you think it's not new, it's just an extension of the old. Nada. Nada. We're going to see through the book of Hebrews that can't be the priesthood, new covenant. It's not the same because Jeremiah 31 tells us it's not the same. But my problem is that these Hebrew Israelites today, with the awakening spirit, the awakening mindset, they say they came into the truth. But how did they reject the new covenant when the old covenant is telling us that the new covenant was coming? So even the Pharisees in chapter 3 of 2 Corinthians, or 2 Corinthians, chapter 12 to 16, they couldn't hear and see. They rejected it, reading the old covenant, and the new covenant was upon them, and Mashiach came and died, and all that. Signs and wonders, resurrected, healing, boom, 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 boom. And they just missed it. Most of them. Not all, because there was a remnant. There was a remnant, not going to be a remnant. Let's get that straight. There was a remnant 2022 years ago, because we in January 2022. I don't know why my body starts doing this when I start talking. Hiccups and crap. Oh gosh, this is sick. I'm drinking tea because I don't feel good. I'm sick. I don't have COVID. Let me talking to me on the doggone computer. You got COVID. Scared of gonna jump through the screen. No, I don't have COVID, but I had a little cold or whatever. I'm not feeling up to bright. I hope these glasses can hide my bags under my eyes from sleepy, tired. But yes, it is what it is. So I wanted to get this off. I'm off today. I'm off tomorrow. So I wanted to get this in. A little anxious to do it again, but I just was thinking today. Let me try to do this, man, because this is so sad. It is so sad. It's so sad. And I'm not mocking. I'm not trying to be funny. It's ridiculous what's going on. In the name of truth, in the name of awakening, a name of truth, a name of bringing forth truth in the so-called millennium, last days, it is debacle beyond debacle and just keep being debacle. But who am I? Who are you, b.h.i? Who are you to get on the YouTube and make a point? You ain't nobody. You ain't no captain. You ain't no elder in no camp. Who are you? I ask the question back to you. Who are you? Who are you? What makes you who you are? Who? What? A turban? Tissels? Robes? Speak Palo Hebrew? Derek, stop it. Just stop it. Anyway, Jeremiah 31:31. If you don't know, go look it up, laity, Hebrews. Go look it up. New covenant. New. When you go buy a bottle of wine from the wine store, the older wine is the better wine. It costs more money in reality. So that might be a good thing I'm using here. But When you go buy something out the store, you don't want no old meat. Old meat that's been sitting around since 2017. You don't want some new, fresh, cut, killed lamb. I ain't gonna give y'all. I'm gonna give y'all credit. You don't want some beef, some new fresh fish. You don't want some old fish, some old flounder and porgies or whatever you eat. You don't want some old. You want some fresh fish. You look under the gills and see how red it is to check the fish. That's how you know how fresh the fish is. If I'm correct on that, you know what I'm saying? You don't want no stinking steak. For y'all who don't eat pork, I was almost blasphemous to say that. And you don't want no nasty behind meat. So you want something new, fresh. The new covenant is fresh. It's no burdens, no yoke. Burdens and yoke come unto me, all that are heavy burden. Unto who is me? Yahusha. Not unto Masha. Not unto Mount Sinai. Oh gosh, man, it just makes me sad, man. But all right, so we're gonna talk about. I don't know what I'm gonna name it. I just thought about Hebrews. Wake up, don't get caught up. Hebrews, wake up, don't get caught up. I was thinking about that, or the covenants. We know the covenants change throughout the time. According to Deuteronomy 5:3, Abraham and Masha's covenant are not the same. It tells us right there in Deuteronomy chapter 5:3. This is not the covenant our fathers had that we have at this present time that Masha was talking to the Israelites. Deuteronomy chapter 5:3. Jeremiah 31:31, one I just mentioned. This is a prophecy to the new covenant when Yahushua comes on the scene. Right? We know that's the prophecy of that. New. Burden is light. Come unto me, I'll give you rest for your soul, not rest for a week. Wow. Rest for your soul, not rest from a week from labor, from taking care of the land. What if you live in an apartment, you ain't got no land? How do you take care of the land today? Well, you got a little house, so you got a little land back there. Oh, gosh. But what are you going to do, man? These poor folks are so want to be connected to something so bad, they don't care. They don't care nothing about no Yahushua. They don't care about none of that. They want their physical, natural stuff. Everything these boys talk about is physical. Ain't no spiritual discernment in their stuff. It's all outward. It's always here, outward. Eating, outward. Not what comes out the mouth, that goes in the mouth, that comes out the drought. Nope. It's what goes in. Care what Yahushua says. That's it. It's what they wear, what they eat, what they don't do. Holy Kadesh days compared to the so-called Christian crap. I don't care about no Christian crap. Holidays and all this other stuff. The guys on my Christmas tree. Ain't nobody bowing down to no Christmas tree in Jeremiah chapter 10 and today. Okay? Nobody's bowing down, making no seances and getting on knees for no tree for no 24 hours or a week from after Thanksgiving. That's a lie. So when these guys bring this up, they like to talk about that. I got a friend of mine named, I call him Bernie Mac Jr., you know what I'm saying, little stocky dude. He heard, yo, Hill, you got rid of your tree? I be laughing, man. I said, anybody bow down to a tree? See, those are peripheral things. Those are baby things. I know they sound strong, but then, what about Galatians? What about Romans, where it talks about the law? They don't want to deal with that. Then they talk about Shaul's. He's a Christian now. When he breaks down his stuff, when he tears it to shreds, when he's talking under the ruach, now he's a Christian. He said from the tribe of Benjamin. He never said about him being a Christian. It's number one. He from the tribe of Benjamin, which he was legitimately from the tribe of Benjamin, and he can definitely say that. And you stand up here talking about we be Israel. Now, I'm going to go with Shaul, number one. That's number one for me. Now, I'm trying to get you laity folks, from the Christian terminology, y'all who under the mores. I don't want to say iman. That's Muslims. And then I want you to get some fear out of your system. It's just like getting this COVID out. You gotta take the zinc. You gotta take the vitamin D. You gotta take the orange juice. You gotta take the blueberry, or the stuff, the berries. You gotta make that digestive system that track strong enough to fight off that COVID. That's the same thing. You gotta get these scriptures in that gut to fight off these lies and trickeries. Come to spy at your liberty, put you back under some bondage you never was under. Use deception under Christianity, yeah. With the terminology Christianity, Jesus Christ, and all that foolishness, yeah. But now you're going to turn to the Torah. The Torah says this here. The Torah says that, and it does. But the Torah could not take a man from the conscience, the book of Hebrews is going to tell us. The Torah could not bring eternal life, the book of Hebrews is going to show us. The Torah is going to show us, the Hebrew is going to show us a lot of things. The Torah is the ministration of death. The Torah is to show us our sin. That's how you can go sin now and say the Torah has been fulfilled in Mashiach, that you can go and sin. No, that's a straw man. That's a game they play. Oh, gosh. But what can you do? I'm supposed to be reading notes again. Notes just go out the window. But what can you do? They get mad at a person like me. They say he's not an Aki. Who give you a right? What makes you whatever? See, and that's how they trap the laity. They get you with this thing of when you become a Hebrew Israelite. I don't know how you can become something you already are. I don't know how you can become something you already are. Talking about you a Hebrew Israelite. That means you got to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. Because you used to be a Christian. So now you find out your nationality, your heritage, your DNA connection, West Coast Africa. So now you think you're going under the Torah, which was abolished, finished, or better yet, a.k.a. fulfilled, Matthew 5, 17 and 18. I can't help it that you can't understand what heaven and earth is represented in prophetic language. Study. Get it right. The earth abided forever, Psalm 78, Psalms 104:5. Oh, gosh. Ephesians 3:21. So the earth ain't going nowhere. Good gracious. Well, that's why the Torah ain't fulfilled yet. Somebody ain't reading Romans, Galatians, Colossians. And poor Shaul. We give him the credit for the book of Hebrews. Most people do. Some say Barnabas, some say Shaul. It doesn't matter. Both Hebrews. And we got a book of Hebrews in the New Testament, speaking straight and directly to Hebrews. So when they get upset with the book of Hebrews, you need to take your mind and go, something wrong here. Something wrong here. Because they can't divide the book of Hebrews like they can do the other books. They're talking to the northern kingdom. They're talking to the southern kingdom. That's not talking to Gentiles. That ain't got nothing to do with Gentiles. They can't play that game in the book of Hebrews. Busted. They can't play the, what do I call it? I used to call it the spin doctor. They can't call a spin doctor in to play around the book of Hebrews. Well, that was only talking to one tribe. These boys will pull anything out their head like a rabbit. Like a magician. Because that's what they have to do. Because they know the laity's not going to pick it up. And they know the laity Hebrews are not going to ask any questions. And if they do, they're going to be so afraid around the other ones, just like, like most of the people were when they were Christians. They're not going to do it. Because they're afraid. And that's where I come in at. Ain't afraid, can answer their question, but they can't answer yours. They'll tell you, you can't answer my questions. What about when it says keep his commandments, First John who can? Oh, the famous one, Revelations 14:12. The testimony of Mashiach, the faith in the commandments. That's the one they use. That's one of their favorites. You got one that you try to make it into commandments. When he's talking to Yahushua, gave the testimony of Yahushua to the 7 churches. Why Yahuwah ain't never said nothing about the Sabbath in the book of Revelation? Wait a minute, let me see if the Sabbath in the book of Revelation for all that matter. I don't even think it's there. To be honest, I'm going to check that. I'll make sure I do that before we start that book of Hebrews. Come on. Now, let's get to some verses here. Let me just cut my trap and leave all the book of Hebrews out. Let's start off with some of these notes I got. Because I get all, discombobulated. I get all out of whack. I put too many notes. I start writing. So you know why? Because there's so many things to find. There's so many things to use to try to get the simplicity in. The Besorah of Mashiach. It's so many things to try to get that in because that's where you stand now. You don't stand in the Masha. Y'all know I did the YouTube on that. Are you Masha's disciple or Yahusha's disciple? Which one are you? Well, we're both. Garbage. Shaul said, I preach nothing but the Besorah. Besorah. Gospel. And what is the gospel? 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 1-3. I declare to you the Besorah. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1-3. That is the gospel. Summed up in a little, couple of verses there. Now, what's the next part that we got with this? Lucas chapter 16, verse 16. And the law and the prophets was unto Yahuwah. The law and the prophets were unto Yahuwah, came preaching in the wilderness. Prepare the way of Yahuwah, not Hawashah. Yahuwah. Prepare, why? Until or past? Wait, until. Why? Because the Mashiach was coming. Fulfillment. I think I read where Mashiach fulfilled 300 prophetic things from the Old Testament. 300. Y'all saying he ain't finished it yet. He had died, resurrected, went back to the right hand of the Father. And y'all talking about he ain't finished yet. He said it's finished on the stake. Y'all talking about he ain't finished yet. I tell you, man, I don't know what to do. I got my Jets shirt on, y'all can see. I'm a Cowboys fan and a Jets fan. I can't wear the Cowboys. Make me angry. And the Jets make me angry too. Sorry. But anyway, Lucas 16:16. The Lord of prophets unto Yahuwah. Here's a good one. And it also is in Matthew 11:13-15. The same thought. He says, if you shall receive it. Wait a minute. Let's go to Matthew. Let me read that one. I got to read that one first. Oh, Maccabees. I'm using the Sefer book here. Sefer book. Sefer book. It's got big print. The room. I got my studio lights on the back here. Matthew chapter 11 verses 13-15. Let's see what it says here. For all the prophets, some of the prophets, for all the prophets of the Torah prophesied unto Yahuwah. And if you today, even though that was talking to them back then, will receive it, this is Eliyahu. They got Eliyahu in the Sefer book. I don't know why this man didn't correct all this nonsense. Which was to come. Eliyahu came already. Remember Yoel? Before the great and terrible day of Yahuwah, Eliyahu will come. How you going to come in 2022 when he came already? Before the great and terrible day of Yahuwah. Stop it, D. He that has an ear, let him hear. Let him hear. He that has ears to hear, let him hear. But what I like unto this generation back then. But I say what I like unto this generation now. Oh my gosh. It's the same blindness, cultic mentality, deception, veil over Masha over their eyes. And then reading the Old Testament, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, 12-16. It won't stop. Because the physical and the natural are fighting. Galatians chapter 4, I believe it is. The physical of Jerusalem versus the spiritual of Jerusalem. And the physical chases the spiritual and torments them. Spy out their liberty, put them back in the captive. Getting them under circumcision in the book of Acts. And blah, 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 blah. Then we're going to get to the book of Romans where he says circumcision or uncircumcision availeth nothing. Either one. Doesn't matter. Well, that's because you're stupid. You don't understand. Of course everyone is stupid when they understand and don't see something that puts you back in bondage. And your righteousness of yourself and what you do and don't do. Because that's what that is. Your righteousness. Your righteousness. What I do and what I don't do. It's not his righteousness, in his righteousness, by his righteousness. It's what I do and don't do makes me fit for the so-called eternal life. Wrong, dead wrong, and gonna be wrong, and gonna be miserable when you find out how wrong you are if you die that way. And I mean miserable. Because his righteousness is not good enough. You make his death of none effect. Galatians. See, we don't like Shaul. I'm saying we meaning y'all. Because he contradicts him being from Yehudim under the inspiration from your letter of the law. You can't discern, you can't come over the hump because you won't let go that physical part. Your spiritually discern is lacking major. I mean completely gone out of it because you got all your rituals down. You got all your things lined up. All your stuff you don't do. All the stuff I do. All the stuff I do wear. All the stuff I don't eat. Somebody's going to save you in the future. And Mashiach can be pushed to the side. Not Christos or Christus, Israelites. First Corinthians, no, where was I at? Lost my thought here. Okay, I read Matthew chapter 11. All right, Galatians chapter 3. Here's the killer Manila. Galatians chapter 3. Oh, I don't want to go to Galatians. Cause boy, they got their as I said before in some other YouTubes, they got their theologians to counter everything I'm pretty much saying, because they're gonna have their theologians who in bondage. You know, some of these translations I got under Torah conception, but you got to read through it, even though you're reading and using the translation, and I got plenty of them. Galatians chapter 3, 16 to 18. Galatians chapter 3, 16 to 18. Galatians chapter 3, verses 16 to 18. Let's read. And now to Abraham, he got Abraham, and his seed, where the promise is made. His seed. Let's see what it says. He says, not unto seeds, plural. Wait a minute. Into the 12 tribes. As of many, but as one, and to your seed, which is Mashiach. Which is Mashiach, not Masha. Because we know doggone he can't be talking about no Masha. And no Ezekiel, no Mount Sinai, and he gave the oracles and the 10 commandments, and blah, 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 blah. Verse 17, and this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of Elohim in Mashiach, the law, Galatians, which was 430 years afterwards, after what was promised to Abraham, through the seed in Mashiach, cannot disannul that it should make the promises of none effect. Oh my. So your law keeping self can't disannul the promises that Elohim made through Mashiach, in Mashiach. That was 2022 years ago, talking to the original Hebrews. You 2022 years later trying to make it a null, talking about this mumbling, stumbling. But you got the laity trapped because they awakened in mindset. They confused, they scared, they ran from Christianity. Give me something to be connected to. Not Mashiach, but give me a tribe. Listen to me. Yeah, give me a tribe and a camp. 2 T's, the tribe and camp crew. Tribe and a camp. Give me a tribe and a camp. Find me a tribe, find me a camp. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before Elohim in Mashiach, the law the law, which was 430 years afterward, cannot disannul that which was the promises of none effect. Verse 18. For if the inheritance is by the law, oh, that you New Testament law abiding folks. It is no more promise, but Elohim gave it to Abraham by promise before Masha. My goodness. Why then the law, grace was added because of the transgression from the law. Folks, this is a little comparison, a little study. I mean, a couple of verses. When we get to the book of Hebrews, we're going to read some more because I said I was going to do it months ago. I never got to it. Boy, what can you say, man? 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15, where you hear the gospel first preached. Not first preached, the breakdown of the gospel, the Besorah. I declare unto you the Besorah which I preach unto you, which also you have received, wherein you stand. Where you what? Stand. Not fall, by which you are saved through the gospel. Not keeping the law. This is important, laity. Don't get afraid. Don't let them beat you down, and don't worry about them. Let them call you names. Let them call you this and that. Let them call you like the man said. They tell the blind man, you be followers of Mashiach. Mad as heck, boy. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15, the same chapter, verses 56 and 57. 1 Corinthians 15, 56 and 57. The sting of death is sin. My friend Pete likes this verse. It's one of his favorite things. And the strength of sin is the Torah. That doesn't mean because the strength of sin the Torah was fulfilled, that we can go and be sinful and just get away with it and say the Ruach HaKodesh deals with the conscience in you. It doesn't allow you just to go and do what you want because the Torah is fulfilled when they try to keep you on some obligation that in their duties and their deeds by their works they are fulfilled, they are keeping themselves. It is backwards. It is so backwards. But what can you do? But thanks be to Elohim, which gives us the what? But thanks be to Elohim, which gives us the victory through our sovereign. We use no Adonai. Through our sovereign Yahushua HaMashiach. Who gives us the what? The victory to keeping the Sabbath, circumcision the 8th day, no eating pork, wearing tissues, wearing a turban, a long beard, no razor. Find out we awakening. Law, statute, commandments. Give us our victory and save through Yahushua HaMashiach, who's the seed. Promises to Abraham. Scripture backs up scripture, scripture backs up scripture, scripture backs up scripture. And my focus is on Yahushua HaMashiach. When we get to the book of Hebrews, we're going to go step by step from chapter 1 all the way through. And we're going to see that the book of Hebrews, talking to Hebrews, original Hebrews, and telling them about Mashiach. Each chapter is breaking down all kind of stuff. You know how many times I read the book of Hebrews? That don't mean I'm right about it. That don't mean I'm going to share my perspective. Everyone shares their perspective. But if you read and take your time, there's no way in the world you're going to come out of there and finish up with Torah, Torah, Torah. Sabbath, Sabbath, Sabbath. Commandments, commandment, commandments. Statutes, statutes, statutes. And if you do, you're not being heard from his voice. You're being heard from your more's voice, your captain's voice, your camp's leader's voice. Somebody from 1967 or 63 or 1948 when they found out we was lied to. That's who you hear. Then you try to take that and accumulate that in scripture. Then you come and try to drag Masha 430 years after we're going to try to annul the promises. Just like the Pharisees and them boys did in the first century. And then they say, well, he ain't no Aki. Get him out of here. Cut him off. Don't listen to him. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. Let's see if I got the right verse here. the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit. You know why y'all receive all the natural stuff? Because you under the natural concept. That's why you like all the clothing, the hair, the razor, the tissues, the food, all natural. You love it. You love it because it adds to thy righteousness. And you don't want to do. You don't want to do. I do through Mashiach. His righteousness will count for glory and sanctification. How are you going to be a man? What if you fail? What if you fall? What if you don't keep up the standards of all the Torah? Not saying Sabbath, not having some lights turn off on Friday night and dusk, then wake up on Saturday afternoon and you finished. Pitiful, man. It's really pitiful. 2:14. 2:14. Verse 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 13 and 14. Which things we speak, we also speak, not the words which men's wisdom teaches, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. But the natural man receives not the things of the Ruach Elohim. Well, we're going to say natural man here also going to be the sinner man, the unbeliever. Has no belief in Yahushua HaMashiach, rejects it. So do some of the Israelites. Not all, but some. Plenty of. But the natural man receives not the things of the Ruach Elohim, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can they know them. Neither can they what? Know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But that which is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is judge of no man. Whoops, that goes for b.h.i. Judge of no man. Judge of no camp. Judge of no Christian religion as well. Judge of neither one of this madness. I hate to say it that way, folks, but that's what I feel. Judge of no man. Judged by Yahushua HaMashiach when we die. You go before him. You go before his throne. I believe it's Revelation chapter 5. Yahushua has his own throne. Yahuwah has a throne. Wow, look at that. My. All right, Acts chapter 22. Okay, did I get them all? Okay, Acts 22:8. Before we get to the book of Revelation, we run around real quick, throwing out some verses before we get that, trying to build up. Before we get into that book of Hebrews. Since I'm back, I'm not even feeling good, but I couldn't help it. I wanted to get this in. I hope I'll be able to load it up. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, 22:18. Blah, blah, blah. My buddy Wayno was saying. I got some other notes here. Acts 7:53. Before we get to 22:18. Y'all can see, look, notes, chalk, writing on the back. Oh, almost left out the Roman verses. Look at that. I got to get back to those. Oh, gosh. I said I knew it. Boy, it's going to take an hour YouTube on this first one. Let me stop talking. Acts 7:53. They have received the law and have not kept it. Oops. Verse 54. Back in that 2022 years ago, that rhymes. 2022 years ago, they had received the law and they didn't keep it. But y'all keeping it today. All I'm going to do is do two things right here. And that's just whistle. Really? 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 Psalms 58:78:10. They kept not my covenant, and they refused to walk in his laws. Listen, people, you should be so glad that Mashiach came and brought the fulfillment that Yahuwah promised to Israel, Yasharel, way back, and made his promises and kept his promises with Yasharel of the first century. You should be so happy and grateful that Mashiach came and fulfilled and done this stuff, but the madness, blindness, and craziness kept you away from it because the doctrine, the traditions of men has blinded you from the inspiration and the spiritual part of Scripture because the physical, natural flesh want to be seen, heard, and say what he do and don't do. It's sad. It is sad. Now, some of these notes here is from the book of Hebrews. Yeah, I don't want to get into those. But don't forget about Deuteronomy 5:3. So the covenants would change down the time. Moshe's covenant different from Abraham. Yahushua's covenant, obviously we get the book of Hebrews different from Moshe's covenant. First and second covenant. Better covenant. Melchizedek. Better promises. Boy, it can rhyme. You can start, Come on. Get with this, man. Get with this, people. And don't get mad at me. I don't really care if you do anyway. It does no matter. It doesn't matter. What you gonna do? I'm watching YouTube. Don't pay him no mind. Shut your ears. Put cotton in your ears. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. I understand that. First 1:4:22. Put notes up here. Yeah, you can see it yourself. Romans 3:20. No flesh is justified by the deeds of the law in his sight. Oh my gosh. And that's just reading one verse. I don't want to go through. I just grabbed a couple, I don't want to get too many. I mean, gosh, because it gets worse. Romans 4:13. That's Romans 4:13. That's Romans 4:13. Romans, all credit to Shaul from the tribe of Benjamin, by the way. All credit to Shaul from the tribe of Benjamin. Not a Christian. Christians. Not a Christian. Christians. And Hebrew Israelites, don't let them fool you when they call you a Christian when they don't like what you're saying and you're exposing their garbage. Don't let them fool you with that, with the game tactic, name calling, childish. No. Because that's what they will do. They have no choice now. They have no choice but to start labeling you. Because they're busted, disgusted, and they have no choice. Laity, Hebrew laity. Please understand that. This is real. Romans 4:13. For the promise that it should be who's he? Should be a hearer of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law. Oh my gosh, this can't be saying this. But through the righteousness of faith. We know the book of Hebrews, when we get there, we're going to see the 11th chapter. The men in the Old Testament, all these patriarchs through faith. They don't say nothing in the book 11, Hebrews 11, talking to Hebrews about law, statutes, and commandments. All these people that these 2,020 years ago Hebrew Israelites were being told from the prophecy given to them back then, telling them about history, Hebrews chapter 11 lets you know it was by faith, not by not eating bacon. Oh boy. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world. Of the world. That's the Israelite world only. That's 28:29 in the Greek. If you're going to use the Greek New Testament. 28:29. I don't even have the number there. I'm pretty much sure that's what it was. Because the Hebrews are slick, boy. They changed all the words to make it fit. Only around Hebrews. It's crazy, man. Was not to Abraham or to his seed. Who's his seed? You Israelites today, right? You descendants in the first century, right? The 12 tribes, right? Through the law. Psych, wrong. But through the righteousness of faith. Oh, man, I ain't going to read it no more. Acts 22:18. Did I get to that one yet? Oh, gosh, this is the last one. I already got 30, 40 minutes YouTube with my big mouth here. Acts 22:18. Acts 22:18. Wait till we go to the book of Hebrews. This is going to be fun. I hope I feel better when I do it. Excuse me. I don't really feel that good. I don't feel good at all, matter of fact. Some of y'all going to say, I'm glad he's not feeling better. Good gracious. 22:18. And I saw him saying unto me, 22:18, to Shaul, right? And get quickly out of Jerusalem, for they will not receive the testimony concerning me. Shut your YouTube up, shut your mouth, because they ain't not going to receive the testimony concerning me. Not me, Yah, Yahushua HaMashiach. He told them, get out of there. They're not going to receive it. And most of y'all watching these YouTubes, if you under control of some moray, some camp leader, some foolishness, you ain't going to receive it. Because you stepped out of from liberty in Mashiach to bondage and Torah and elements. And you can't escape because you're afraid. And I got you and I understand it. Because you don't want to feel left out. You don't want to feel isolated. You don't want to feel cornered. It's like having COVID. You got to go for 14 days isolation. Maybe you need to go 14 days isolation in the COVID mindset and get away from this Hebrew nonsense and listen to this stuff and putting yourself more and more in bondage with the scriptures they know to quote in the Old Testament all over the place. And they may have a couple of verses out of whack in the New Testament. But how you going to know any better if you ain't doing 1 Thessalonica 5:20 and prove all things? Acts 17:11. Make sure whatever is being said is valid. By study. By researching. And you can check out every verse I did in here. I beg you to look them over. I exhort you to look them over. I hope you press pause and stop and look them over. That's only a minute of verses. I mean, small amount. Because I just want to give a little brief quote up. I ain't get to the book of Hebrews yet. But we going to the book of Hebrews. So I got to get my notes. I got my notes down already. But matter of fact, I started verse 3 of Hebrews, I believe it was. Or chapter 2. Verse 1. In sundry times, in the latter days. Not today, guys. Sorry, this ain't the latter days. Anyway, 42 minutes and 35 seconds. Open my day. I don't feel now. I gotta go watch my sorry Knicks. Whew. But I pray that somebody watch this thing whenever, wherever, whenever, that they've been bound up. They used to be. They're 70. This, you know what? For you Jewish people, 7-day Adventists, and I'm going to use the word abbreviation, Black Hebrew Israelites. All three of them use the same program. They got the same files. All three of these different little groups, religions, whatever the heck you want to call it, they all use the same thing. Bondage, and more Torah. They are slipping Mashiach a little bit. Just keep you going, keep you drawn in. Ministration of death, that's what it means. Ministration of death. What do you think? What is it? Ministration of life? No, it's ministration of death. Because that's the consequences of breaking the Torah. Death. Not go home and play cards. I told my friend, you folks ain't stone a person because you live in America and capital punishment does not come from breaking the law. So stop it. They don't even kill people in Israel today, even though they... Let me not go there. So stop it. All y'all do is keep the law. We do the law. Shabbat, Sabbath. Oh, man, I got to do a thing on the Sabbath for this matter. For the Sabbath. Gosh. But no death penalty. None. I don't see nobody getting stoned. And I ain't talking about getting shot. Stone, rocks, kill them. No, but we all keep the law. Shabbat shalom. And the black folks are the ones in these camps coming out of Christianity are being drawn into this thing in a multitude because they're running for Christianity, which I don't blame them. And boom. But they're not running for Christianity to Mashiach. They're running for Christianity to camps. They just bypass Mashiach like Monopoly. Bypass go and go to jail. Torah. But he sounds upset. No, y'all ain't see me upset. I ain't even upset. If I start reading the book of Hebrews, I'll probably blow a head gasket. Fade in my neck. Hope I ain't sick. I'm going to get worse. Oh, gosh. Anyway, folks, this is it. This is it, man. This is it, because I can't do no more. The Ruach does it anyway. I'm talking about I can't. The Ruach HaKodesh is the one who reveals. He's the one, when we humble ourselves, he's the one who brings enlightenment, revelation, revealing. He gets the glory, he gets praise to Yahushua HaMashiach through the Ruach HaKodesh for YouTube's teaching, learning, books, etc. Scripture, the truth. He gets the praise for breaking the yoke and bondage and seals and blindness and cotton in the ears and wax and open our eyes from blindness to light, and we can hear and see, and then we can preach the gospel, the Torah of Yahushua HaMashiach. Not laws, statutes, and commandments. When did Yahushua ever say laws, statutes, and commandments in the 4 epistles? 4, I think it's 4, right? When? I always ask somebody, then they can't think now. I don't got a memory. I can't. When? Those 3 words, laws, statutes, and commandments. When did Yahushua stress that to the apostles? The apostles, disciples. When? Kept saying it too. He had to be kept saying it because it's so important. Here's my other question I said for the folks that I've written down since I ain't seen you in a while. On the Sabbath. When was Nicodemus being a Yehudium? When was he told to keep the Sabbath to inherit the kingdom? Wouldn't that be a perfect time for Yahushua to make sure that we get it? Him being a Yehudium and y'all being awakening and we being knowing that we Israelites. And he would have told Nicodemus, listen, man, yeah, you must be born again, Yahushua 3:3, but you got to keep Sabbath, boy. There we go. I might as well go to 50 minutes because it's 47. So I'm going to close this out. I praise Yahushua HaMashiach through the Ruach HaKodesh for his truth and praise to Yahuwah for giving me opportunities to speak, share with whoever here, whoever don't hear, so be it. Do your own study, bring your own conclusion. Bring the Torah to Yahushua when you die. Bring him your gifts of righteousness, what you undone, and what you do and what you don't do, and why you didn't do, and all your do's. Bring it. I ain't bringing none of that. I'm bringing obedience to Yahushua HaMashiach in his righteousness, not mine. Don't have none, never will have none, can't have none in this sinful flesh. Period. End of discussion. That doesn't give you an okay and a signature to sign your own sinful ways and go out there and do whatever you want and say we not under the Torah so you can be lawlessness and all this other trickery, straw man tactic teaching. Can't do whatever you want in the new covenant. You're under the guidance of the Ruach HaKodesh and the scriptures on top of it. I can get into that too. The scriptures for all of that. But they're not under the 10 Commandments no more. Anyway, be well, be good. Got to keep them vitamins, zinc, D, and all those other stuff to fight this COVID nonsense. Because you just got to do that. You got to have prayer. Don't forget the Father through all of these trials and tribulations folks going through in 2022 in January. You got to keep up your vitamins and do all that good stuff the best you can. But don't forget Yahushua HaMashiach through all of the COVID. Oh, God. Put him on the back burner. Talking about Fauci and the CDC and all this nonsense. Please, don't forget your faith to the end. Your faith. Hebrews chapter 11. Your faith. Not your dead works. Dead. They are dead. They are to nothing of none of good now. They are dead, folks. So don't think you're going to be able to accumulate works in this day and time to justify it before Mashiach. Take care. Be Baruch in Yahushua HaMashiach. Take care.